Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today, we're going to be talking about the LGBTQ community. The acronym LGBTQ stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer, questioning. These identities reflect different aspects of gender and sexuality, and they can be a source of pride, empowerment, and community for those who embrace them. The LGBTQ community is made up of people from all walks of life, and it has a long and rich history that dates back centuries. However, the modern LGBTQ rights movement emerged in the late 20th century, as LGBTQ people began to demand recognition and equal treatment under the law. The history of the LGBTQ movement is marked by struggle, resilience, and activism. LGBTQ people have faced discrimination, stigma, and violence for decades, and they have responded with creative and courageous forms of resistance. From the Stonewall riots to the AIDS crisis, the LGBTQ community has overcome many challenges and made significant progress towards equality and acceptance. The Stonewall riots, which took place in New York City in 1969, are widely considered to be the starting point of the modern LGBTQ rights movement. The riots were sparked by a police raid on the Stonewall Inn, a gay bar in Greenwich Village, and they led to days of protests and clashes with the police. The riots galvanized the LGBTQ community and inspired a wave of activism and advocacy. In the following decades, the LGBTQ community continued to fight for their rights and visibility. They organized marches, rallies, and protests, created community centers and support groups, and lobbied for legal and policy changes. In 1973, the American Psychiatric Association removed homosexuality from its list of mental disorders, a milestone in the fight against stigma and discrimination. However, the LGBTQ community still faced many challenges in the years that followed. The AIDS crisis of the 1980s and 1990s devastated the LGBTQ community, and it also fueled prejudice and discrimination. LGBTQ people were blamed for the epidemic, and they faced heightened stigma and marginalization. The crisis also spurred activism and advocacy, as the LGBTQ community demanded better treatment and resources. In the 21st century, the LGBTQ community has made significant progress towards equality and inclusion. In many countries, same-sex marriage is now legal, and anti-discrimination laws protect LGBTQ people from discrimination in housing, employment, and other areas. The visibility and representation of LGBTQ people in media, politics, and other spheres have also increased, helping to break down stereotypes and promote acceptance. Despite these gains, the LGBTQ community still faces many challenges. Discrimination, hate crimes, and mental health issues continue to affect many LGBTQ people, especially those who are marginalized by race, ethnicity, gender, or socioeconomic status. LGBTQ youth are also at higher risk of bullying, suicide, and homelessness. The intersection of multiple identities can create additional challenges for LGBTQ people. For example, LGBTQ people of color may face racism and homophobia, while transgender people may face discrimination and violence based on their gender identity. It's important to recognize and address these intersecting forms of oppression in order to create truly inclusive and equitable spaces. So, what can we do to support the LGBTQ community? There are many ways to be an ally and show solidarity. We can educate ourselves and others, advocate for LGBTQ rights and inclusion, support LGBTQ-owned businesses and organizations, and listen to the experiences and voices of LGBTQ community. There are also many resources available for LGBTQ people who may need support or assistance. These include LGBTQ community centers, hotlines, and online support groups. It's important to connect with these resources and seek help if you need it. In conclusion, the LGBTQ community is a diverse and vibrant group of people who have fought for their rights and visibility for decades. While there have been many gains in recent years, the community still faces challenges and discrimination. It's important for all of us to be allies and advocates for the LGBTQ community, to create inclusive and equitable spaces, and to support the rights and dignity of all people, regardless of their gender identity or sexual orientation. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Please subscribe to our channel.